Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a monthly roundup video talking about all the products that I tried in first impressions and trying new makeup videos and giving you my full thoughts and review on these products. I've been using them off camera, sometimes when I'm filming, sometimes when I'm not, and just getting a good idea of what I would recommend to you guys and what I don't like personally. And I'll tell you the reasons why, who I think it'll work for, etc. I'm going to break this up into great products, so products that I think are great, that stood out to me, and tell you who I think they'd be great for or why I personally love them. I can't speak today and we're just beginning. Great. Next, I'm going to go into the good products. So these are products that are good. They didn't wow me, but I think there is a market for them and there's consumers that would really get a lot of use out of them and really enjoy them. And I'll tell you who I think they're best suited for. And then I'm going to go into the not so great or bad category, products I just wouldn't recommend, products I will never want to use again, and I'll probably just declutter out of my collection. So I hope you guys enjoy this sort of organization. That way it's not just like jumbled up and down like I love this, I don't love this, this is okay, and I'm kind of trying to organize them better for you guys. So let me know if you like this down below. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe, and let's go ahead and begin. So we're going to start off with great. I'm going to go in that format here. Everything I talk about will be linked down below, but let's start off with a bang. This product is gorgeous. I'm wearing it right now. This is the Denessa Myricks highlighting palette. This is the light work version. There's two variations. So there's the lighter one and then a deeper one. Denessa Myricks is now available at Sephora. I highly recommend this palette. So this is a 6-pan powder highlight palette. When I first tried this, I honestly didn't think I was going to love it. I tend to prefer the baked kind of gelée textures of the Dior Backstage or the ABH Amrezy or Natasha Denona, where they don't really feel like a powder and there's no kick up in the pan. So when I immediately saw powder, I was like, oh, you know, usually powder I feel like just looks heavy on the skin. It can get kind of patchy and it just looks heavy. I don't know how else to describe it. These are so creamy and blinding. You do not need a lot of these, but what I like about them is that they do melt into the skin, so you can buff them in or you can kind of swipe them on, whatever you want to do. So I'm wearing this right now and I mixed this light shade with this pink shade. So these have been my go-to colors, but I have to say the formula on this, if you love blinding highlights that don't accentuate your texture, they're not heavy, they're not chunky, there's some sort of like cream feeling to these. They're just very creamy. They're not dry, powdery, what I was expecting. So I highly recommend this. This is a great product. I know a lot of us have a ton of highlighters, but if you're looking for a highlighter, or I think if you're a makeup artist, this would be a great addition. And as I said, there's a deeper selection as well if you have a deeper skin tone. Denessa Myricks is a Black-owned brand, so definitely check that out. Super excited it's at Sephora, so this is a great product. The next product I absolutely adore. I love this formula. It's one of my top formulas of blushes, so there's no surprise here that the new M Cosmetics blush is going to be an absolute yes for me. These blushes are so special. They're called the Heaven's Glow blushes. She has 3 colorways now, a pink, more of a orangey terracotta, and then this rose color. So this is Venetian Rose. This is the newest shade. These sell out all the time. I don't know how else to describe the formula other than a glowy but not glittery blush. You can see that satin shift there. These are buildable. They don't enhance your texture, but they do give you a healthy, glowy look without being a cream. It's really magic. They're just one of my top favorites. So if you like more of a rosy tone, this would be the one for you. So this is a yes. I'm not shocked because I knew I love this formula and this color is beautiful. Another great product that I'm shocked by. I didn't think I would love this. I saw some reviews and it tipped me over the edge to purchase it. This is the Brow Freeze from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Have to say, this is a great product. It does what it says it's going to do. It's a clear brow gel. I say it's soap brows for dummies. For people that don't want to get, you know, a soap out and wet it and do all of this, that's a lot of work. Let's be real. We're trying to get our face on and get out the door. So this is just much more convenient. It's truly clear. It's very tacky. You take any spoolie that you have, get a little bit of product, and then you just brush it through your brows. The trick for me is brushing through my brows and then maybe 30 seconds after, really pushing my brow hairs up. I use my brow pencil or spoolie. You can use your fingers, and that way they really adhere to your skin and they stay all day. I've tried other brow products like this that claim to stay all day and they don't. This does. So if you're looking to get soap brows, but you don't want to go through the hassle of finding a soap, etc., this is a great product that you can pick up at Sephora and it works as intended. Another great product I've fallen in love with is this Lawless Forget the Filler Line Smoothing Gloss. So this is supposed to be plumping and line smoothing. It's very thick and it feels like heaven on the lips, but it's not sticky. It has, I don't know how to describe it. It's not quite mint, but there's some sort of cooling in there. This reminds me of my beloved Too Faced lip balm that I use, or lip treatment, but this is a little bit less minty and way shinier. So what I do is use the Too Faced at night as my lip balm or lip treatment before bed. And then if you've seen me recently in videos starting off, I have like shiny lips. It's this. This just looks gorgeous, feels amazing. It's one of those that you put on and you're like, that's what my lips needed. You know, when your lips feel dry or parched. I adore this. You can also wear it over lipsticks. It looks beautiful. It's basically like a high shine gloss, but it's very, very comfortable. I can't speak to the, you know, plumping lip filler because let's be real, I have enough lip filler to last us for years, okay? On a side note, I do want to say I have not had lip filler in 2 years in May. So that's a long time and I don't plan on getting any more. These babies are hanging around. They have been plumped and plumped and plumped. So I can't speak to the fact of, is it going to make your lips bigger, etc., but it's not one of those burning ones where they feel like you're literally dying or you've got like cayenne pepper on your lips. This is a comfortable, just nice cooling feel. And I just love this for hydration before I put on liquid lipsticks or when I'm doing my makeup, so I highly recommend this. So let's talk about another great product. I haven't demoed this on camera, these specific colors, but I have used them off camera and these are absolutely stunning. I already know I love the formula, so I want to give you an update if you've maybe thought like, does she like them? What does she think? These are the Tower 28 cream blushes, but they came out with 3 new shades. I was wearing this one mixed with the pinky berry one in a video, but I've used these multiple times and they're absolutely stunning. These are great because you can put them over powder, and that's what I love about them. You can use them on an unset face, but you can also put them over powder, which to me is very important if I'm gonna really enjoy a blush. This one's the more peachy one. I would say if you like more neutral, you know, kind of sun-kissed look, you'd go for that. But I love that they came out with 2 deeper shades. Those of you that have really tan, deep skin tones, these are really gonna pop on your skin. So we have one that's a little bit more berry toned. It's like that berry mauve flush, and this is in After Hours. These are just so beautiful. And keep in mind, they do sheer out when you apply them. The best way to apply them, in my opinion, is with a sponge. And then you have more of that neutral kind of brown deep shade, and this is called Power Hour. These are just absolutely gorgeous. The formula is beautiful. I will probably use these in upcoming videos, just trying new makeup, etc. But I already know I love them because I've used them off camera multiple times. And the deep shades do work for me. It just depends on what you're going for. When I want more of that like bright flush, I go for the peachy one. And when I want more of that kind of burnt, sun-kissed look, I go for the more brown or maybe a bit of that pink. But I just think they're stunning. I wanted to give you my review on these, that I think they're beautiful. You just have to decide what color will work for you, but they're just so easy to work with, and that's why I love them. Moving on to another great product. This is the Auric Glow Luss Radiant Luminizer. I have the shade here, Morganite. I have to say, this is so stunning. It is very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I would say if you have really oily skin, you may prefer the Charlotte Tilbury just because it kind of sets down. This one's more hydrating. So this actually feels like skincare is mixed in. The way I like to apply this is on my forehead because I don't really have texture there. So as a primer, sort of how I would use the Rare Beauty Illuminating Primer, or I like to use this just on the tops of my cheekbones, like right before I put powder on. It's not my favorite for under the foundation all over or mixed in because I do have texture. I really like a matte product specifically in my T-zone. I feel like if you have dry skin, you're really going to want to bathe in this. It has a sophisticated glow in the sense that it's not glittery at all. It doesn't look cheap. It really does feel luxe. For me, this is more of a natural product. So again, when I'm full glam filming and I want my makeup to last for hours, I wouldn't probably opt for this as much as if I'm just doing like a dewy, glowy everyday look with just like mascara and, you know, flush cheeks. So this is definitely for those cream lovers, but I have to say it's a beautiful product. And if you love cream products, that super hydrated, glowy look, I think you will enjoy this product a lot. So next I have to talk about Rare Beauty and their most recent launch, which was their like cream blushes. They had liquid eyeshadows and a lip gloss balm. So I tried all three and I have to say I was happy with all three purchases. So let's start off with the blush. This is the Melting Blush. I have to say the packaging is so cute. I got the shade Nearly Rose. These are completely different than her first blushes that came in the little tubes with the doe foot applicator. These are much more emollient and I would say more sheer buildable. This is such a beautiful color, flush of color all over my cheeks. This does work better on an unset face, so it's not as versatile as the Tower 28, but I still do like it because I can set the rest of my face and then just kind of pop this on my cheeks. I demoed this in a video recently and it just looked beautiful. Again, a natural product, very similar to the Auric in the sense that I'm going to use this on days when I'm not doing a full glam. I'm going to pop this on my cheeks with a little bit of foundation and lip gloss and be out the door. So I feel like if you love, again, that really dewy look, this will give it to you. You can build the color up and they're much easier to work with than her original blushes in my opinion. Moving on to her liquid eyeshadow, I got again Nearly Rose. This is a one and done product. You can do it with other shadows, which I did in my video, but essentially this is gonna go on, blend out, and give you that really nice wash of color on your lid. So I've just applied a little bit to my hand. You can see it just blends out really effortlessly. You can use just any kind of brush you have, blend it out, or just tap it on with your fingers and you're out the door. So I wouldn't use this for, again, a full glam look. This is definitely more of a natural minimalist product, and I think that's kind of the vibe of Rare Beauty. And then moving on to the gloss. So this is the Nearly Rose Gloss Bomb. I have to say there's nothing crazy spectacular about this, but I see the market for this. Again, if you are effortless, you want to throw it on and go, you don't want to use a mirror, this is going to be the product for you. This is very comfortable while giving you a little bit of pigment, but that balmy feel. So it has a gloss shine to it, but it's comfortable. It's not a thick, goopy gloss like a MAC or anything like that where you hate the tackiness and it's, you know, getting all over your face. Because of the nature of this balm, it's gonna give you a light tint, little flush to your lips, but feel like you put a lip balm on. So again, very minimalist, but beautiful, effortless beauty. So these are the products I would reach for again if I'm just like, you know, going out to walk my dog or whatever. I'm not filming, I'm not putting on lashes. I just wanna look natural, kind of flushed, pretty spring look. These products all worked as intended and I had no problems with them. Another product that impressed me was the Tatcha Dewy Serum. This is essentially the sister to their Dewy Cream, which is one of my favorites. The Dewy Cream is so hydrating if you have really dry skin and you want that really slip, dewy, glowy look. Highly recommend that. This is essentially just the serum sister, so it works just as well. It's a little bit thinner in texture, but it still comes out with that kind of milky look. And when you blend it in, it just feels effortless, like a dewy slip on your skin. Very thin, so it's not going to be heavy, but still gives you that nice dew and hydration. Plays well under makeup, and it hasn't broken me out or irritated me at all. So I feel like if you have the dewy skin cream, you don't necessarily need this, but if you've tried that and you felt like it was a little bit much or a little too heavy, you might want to try this one out. I have two palettes in the great category, starting off with the Laura Lee Los Angeles Nudie 2 palette. This is the sister palette to the Nudie Patootie, which everybody went nuts over. This is just a smaller version. I have to say this is a beautiful color story for spring. If you love neutrals leaning more pink romantic, these two shades are absolutely gorgeous. They make the palette in the sense that they just pop. They're like glittery goodness, like metallic glittery goodness. And then I love a good peach. And then you have some deeper shades and then some true metallics. Again, very easy to do, just kind of that soft glam that's really in right now. They all blend beautifully. I don't know if this is sold out right now, but I'll link down below. If you have the Nudie Patootie, you may not need to get this, but if you didn't try that one, but you like a smaller, more curated palette, you might really like this. Another great staple palette that I've been trying out and I'm quite impressed with is the Transition palette from Dominique Cosmetics. So this is the newest palette in their line. It is very much just that, a transition palette. So you can use this on your face. I haven't tried that personally just because I use my Dior to contour, but you can use this on your face. That's how it's marketed. So you've got more of a warm beige nude tones, then you've got more of a little bit romantic cooler tones, and then you've got couple of gunmetal and then some warm colors to amp it up. This is really just pigmented, easy to work with. I've used it multiple times. You can use these on the brow bone. I tend to go for just kind of the neutral shades in my crease, maybe, you know, bump it up with the deeper shades down here. And it's performed beautifully. Pigmented, easy to blend, not patchy. It's very basic. which I think that's the intention. So if you have maybe a couple toppers that you like, but you don't have a base palette to ground it with mattes, this might be a good option for you. Next up, I want to talk about the little Auric cream shadow duos. So these are the Smoke Reflect duos. So this was the second item that came out with Samantha Ravindal's brand. So I have all 3 shades here. I got them in PR. I think these are absolutely beautiful. I have to say the cream is more subdued, so if you like a more natural look, you will like that. Now I will say Temper is my least favorite, not because of the color, but because for some reason mine's more hard pressed. So just keep that in mind. When you really rub your finger in there, you can get some pigment and you can get the job done, but it is harder pressed, and I did notice that. Whereas Defiance and Ego are just a lot easier to pick up product. I don't know if you can see the difference there, but this is Defiance, and then Ego is absolutely gorgeous. So for me, if you want the most unique color, yeah, you can see how much more pigmented these two are as opposed to Temper. I just really have to dig in there. I would recommend Defiance or Ego personally, just because they're not as hard pressed and they just kind of pop right on. These toppers are gorgeous. I do think they work well together just because you have that cream base that really grabs on to the glitter and it just makes it pop. But if you like more subdued, then you're just gonna wanna go for the cream. I prefer to put a matte in my crease and then use these products, but I've seen people use them just alone. And again, you could just use a matte in your crease and then pop one of these glitters on top. They're just beautiful. The packaging is absolutely stunning, high quality. I can't wait to see what else she comes out with. Couple more products to talk about in the great category, and then we're gonna move to the good. So I wanted to give a shout out to these Lawless Forget the Filler Definer lip liners. These are great quality. They are so creamy, so pigmented, and they just feel like they would be ones that you could put all over your lips and they wouldn't dry you out. Being creamy and pigmented, they're not slippy. So like the ColourPop, I feel like I slip and I can just mess up really easily. These, I don't feel that. The shades are quite dark as well. So if you're looking for a darker neutral shade, you can see this is quite dark. This is called Burnished, has a little bit of that like barn red tint to it. And then if you want more of the brown nude, you can go for Cocoa, is that what it's called? I believe, yeah, Cocoa. So these are super creamy, like one swipe and you get the pigment. They're just easy to work with. They really, really saturate the lips with pigment and they don't slide. So they're creamy without sliding. There's no tugging and they last for a good while as well. So I hope she comes out with more colors, but these have been great to work with. I have no complaints. And my last great product is something that grew on me, and this is the Maybelline Sky High Mascara that went viral on TikTok. So I really like this for lengthening or days when I'm not wearing lashes, which is most days. This really does give you a nice length. It doesn't give you volume, but I notice it doesn't clump and it's very easy to just continue to build up that color. I feel like people's expectations may have been a little bit high on this because sometimes when things go viral and people go crazy and they hype it up, it's like you think it's gonna make you look like you have false lashes on, and there's really no mascara that's gonna do that if you have really small lashes like I do. But I do think that the claims are right on this. It really does give me length. I never personally struggle with smudging or flaking, so I can't speak to that. No mascara does that to me. I guess I'm lucky in that way. But in terms of building up, you know, sky high length, I do believe that it's a good option, especially for the price. It stays top drawer with me and I use it a lot when I'm not filming. So next, let's go into the good category. So these are products that performed well. I didn't really struggle with, but there was a couple things I noticed about them that I want to let you know so you can make an informed decision. Maybe they are for a certain consumer and I'll tell you why I think that. So let's start off with the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Matte Powder Foundation. I have the shade here 260. So what I noticed about this product first and foremost is that it looks darker on the face than it does in the pan. So you definitely want to get a shade or two or maybe 3 shades lighter if you do plan on using this alone. When I bought this, I thought, oh, this is a good, you know, powder shade. But when you apply it as a powder foundation, on me, this ended up looking kind of patchy and muddy. Second of all, the coverage is not full. I would say it's buildable to medium, but if you're looking for a full coverage, you may want to look into like the Makeup Forever Velvet, something like that. And third of all, for me, this is just a setting powder. The thing about this is there's nothing really spectacular about it, meaning that when I used it alone, the coverage didn't blow me away. It didn't smooth my skin and blow me away, and it didn't last all day. So for me, I'm not gonna use it alone as a powder foundation, which is why I bought it. Now I do use it to set my face. I used it today on the perimeters because it is a little bit dark. I can't use it in my T-zone. So I'll use it, I like it, but there's nothing that really blows me away. I have powders that really blur the skin or really give you that great coverage or brightening. This one just does okay. you know, it sets my face. I'm gonna use it because I bought it, but I wouldn't tell you to run out and grab this. Another good product that I'm kind of shocked by, but then when I really think about it, it makes sense as to why this wasn't great for me. This is the Tatcha Dew Love Cheek Duo. So she has the Quad or the Love Cheek palette, which is one of my top favorites. The highlight in there is gorgeous. Well, there's like 3 highlights. There's like a pink, a peach, but the neutral gold one is gorgeous. And then the cream blush is beautiful. This feels like a different formula. First and foremost, the thing I don't love about it is the color of the highlight. It has that peachy pink shift, which is just not my favorite. I prefer just a gold highlight like the ones in the Denessa Myricks palette, just something very neutral. And the other thing I noticed about this is a much drier formula of a cream blush. It is almost like a cream to powder, whereas her glow palette with the 4 pans gives you a really healthy, kind of a little bit dewy, you know, cream blush look. This is almost like a matte blush that's cream. It's kind of unique in that way. If you have oily skin and you want to try creams, this might be the way to go for you because it's not dewy. It's not going to lift your foundation. It works beautifully over powder, but it doesn't give you that glowy cream look that I think a lot of people are looking for with a cream product. I like the blush more than the highlight just because of the color. The formula on the highlight is fine, but it's just not my favorite color. But I do have to say, if you're looking for that really juicy, glowy look in a cream blush, this is not for you. The colorway is not my favorite, and I wish the blush was a little bit more dewy looking. So next I want to talk about a foundation that I'm a little bit iffy on, and I think the reason is the shade. This is the Covergirl Outlast Extreme Wear 3-in-1 foundation, full coverage, 24-hour wear. So this is the newest to the Covergirl foundation line. I love the Outlast Active. It's just really nice, medium buildable coverage, lasts all day. And I thought this was going to be very similar to that, maybe with a little bit more of like a double wear feel. I think the shade is off first and foremost. I have the shade Buff Beige, and it's just a little bit too neutral. It almost makes me feel just gray, washed out, which I don't love. I just feel like I need a ton of bronzer to offset it, and it just doesn't make me feel healthy looking. So I think that's contributing. But the one thing I noticed is it feels a little bit heavy. So I feel like I can get a little bit of texture gunking around my pores, and therefore I didn't feel like it looked the smoothest while wearing. So I'm a little bit perplexed on this. I think the claims are right in terms of it is full coverage, but I think the shade's really throwing me off, making it not a favorite for me. So I'm gonna have to keep giving it a go. It's kind of one of those where I'm like, I wanna buy another shade, but what if I don't really love it? It's not standing out to me as a top favorite, but I do feel like it lasted pretty well and it has a really good coverage. Let me know if you tried this. I'm thinking of getting a deeper shade just to see if maybe the shade's really throwing me off. For me, this is a good product, but it's not like a favorite top pick for me. Another foundation in the good category is the new one from Urban Decay. This is the Stay Naked Hydro Maniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. So here's what really stood out to me about this, is that it just wears really well. Usually tinted moisturizers, tinted BB creams, whatever, they never last on me. They literally slip right off. This is one that took me for a little bit of a roller coaster ride. When I first put it on, I was like, I hate this. Of course, the shade was too dark because I didn't have the right shade that was sent to me. So that was throwing me off, number one. Number two, I like a little bit more coverage when I'm filming. So when you're on camera, I think a lot of people don't realize that the lights kind of wash you out. So you kind of need to wear heavier makeup, or I feel like more glam makeup. Whereas in my daily life, I don't need to because I'm not on camera, I'm not taking photos. So I think when you're on camera, or at least for me, I'm like wanting more coverage, more flawlessness, a little bit heavier. So I will say, if you want a full coverage, this is not going to be the product for you. I think it is truly light, medium coverage. It's enough to just kind of even your skin tone out. And I will say it looks beautiful and smooth when you set with powder. I feel like this is going to be great for those of you that have combo skin or dry skin and you like that really natural look. You want a little bit of coverage, but you want that glowy look that's going to last all day. It just isn't going to be like a matte full coverage foundation. It's going to be more of a natural finish. Also from Urban Decay, I have the Naked Wild West palette. I did a first impression on this palette. I have to say, the reason it's not in the great category is just because color story wise and the way the pans are set up, it's just not my favorite. It's not going to become like a top favorite of mine, but the quality was great on this. I like that they have 4 different shimmers that are all different colors. You have more of a silvery pink, you have a true gold, then you have more of a bronze, and then you have a turquoise. So you can really change your look up. But really what stands out to me here is these 4 mattes have depth, and I love that. I feel like anybody could use this. You can really deepen your look, give it some depth. It's not 87 shades of beige, even though I will say there is too many shades of beige down here. I wish we would have maybe taken out a couple of those, or vanilla, whatever you want to call it. But I will say that overall this blended beautifully. My look was easy to do. I had no patching and I've used it a few times since. The only shade that gave me a little bit of, not trouble, but text up here, you have to build it up. So when I first applied it, I was like, ooh, that doesn't look very good. It just didn't look too pigmented, but you really can build it up and get that beautiful, I don't know, dark teal kind of color here. So this is a beautiful palette, but what stands out to me really is like these shades up here. These shades down here, I feel like we've seen it a million times, but I do like that they're going a little bit deeper, have a little bit more depth, and I feel like there's a little bit more versatility with it. Versatility with this palette. It was good quality. So I think if you love the color story, you'll get a lot of use out of it. And my last product in the good category is the newest palette from Morphe. This is the 35S, which I Love Sarah E was the face for. She looked gorgeous. So this is a typical, you know, Morphe palette with a ton of different shades. I think they could have omitted, you know, some of these shades down here. They're just so light. So I will say this palette is good for a couple looks. The turquoise, really bright, you know, ocean eyes, or the pinky romantic colors. Other than that, there's not much depth going on here. You really only have these to work with. This is more of a fun pop of color pastel palette for me personally. I've used the pink shades a couple times and then I did a video with the blue. They all blended fine. I don't have an issue with Morphe shadows. I think for the price, you're getting a ton of colors and I created beautiful looks with them. So I think it's a cute palette for spring and summer if you want to add a little bit more color into your collection and you really want to go for that pink or blue look. All right, so now that we've gone over the good, let's get into the not so good. These are products I don't like. I would not tell you to spend your money on. I'm not going to keep using them. They're just not for me. So let's start off with the Buxom Wonderlust Glow Highlighter in White Russian. I've seen mixed reviews on this and I've actually seen some people it looked beautiful on, and then people like me, I didn't like it. This has a gray tone to it, and I'm not sure how to describe it. It just looks like you put a gray, dull, metallic eyeshadow on your cheeks. That's what it looks like to me. Something about it is dull and ashy. That's all I can say. I just don't like it. It's not flattering. The formula is nothing crazy. It's a little bit chunky in the formula. Like if you press too hard, there's a lot of powder kick-up. Just didn't wow me. And in a market with so many beautiful highlights, I just wouldn't tell you to pick this up. Another highlighter fail is the About Face Light Lock highlighter in the shade This Bliss. First of all, the packaging drives me absolutely insane. I feel like I'm gonna rip a nail off every time because the top is slanted. So you have to like brace yourself to open it. And I just, for me, I don't want anything that's gonna like rip my nails off because trust me, I've been there a million times where I'm opening packages and I literally have ripped my nail halfway up the bed. I'm just not delicate with my hands. So this is what it looks like. And when I purchased it online, I really thought it was gonna be like an icy color, but it has that dreaded green gold shift. Now, for fun editorial looks, sure, but for everyday, I just am not interested in this. I really much prefer the Denessa Myricks colors. I just want basic golds and just reflective, beautiful, you know, icy gold colors. I'm just not into the green gold. I feel like it's hard to match with blush sometimes because I'll have a beautiful pink blush on and then you put that on and it's like clashing, like green and gold with pink. I just don't love it. The formula itself is fine, but I don't like the packaging and I just don't like the color. So for me, this is just gonna be a no. So let's talk a powder that I absolutely do not like. This is from Covergirl. This is a Simply Ageless Instant Wrinkle Blurring Pressed Powder, and I got it in translucent. I have tried this in so many different ways, and this is just chunky, and I feel like I'm putting like baking soda into the creases under my eyes. So I will put my concealer on and then tried brushes. I've tried sponges to set, you know, my T-zone very lightly. I was thinking this is gonna be like the Pat McGrath powder, the pressed one, or the By Terry Hydra powder. They have a pressed version and a loose version. This literally chunks up into my wrinkles. Instead of setting my fine lines right here, it actually gets gunked up. It's almost as if I literally put baking soda like in the creases of my eye. I don't know what that's about. I haven't tried it all over my face because it's you know, the white translucent shade. So for me, this is gonna be a no. I've seen some other people do videos like using this all over their face, like as a powder foundation. Maybe it would work better that way. But for me, I'm just not really interested in buying another shade to try that out, just because for me, I just really didn't like it. It didn't smooth, it didn't blow me away. And the chunky fine lines, like literally concealer and this chunked up in the fine lines, was just not a good look. And to finish off this video, I have 3 foundations that didn't work for me. So let's start off with the one that I actually sent back. That is the Sephora Collection Best Skin Ever foundation. It just did not work for me. It was heavy. I feel like I had to use a ton to get the coverage I wanted, yet I didn't feel like I looked super glowy. It was just kind of like a muddy, patchy look on my skin. I didn't like the way it felt, and it just didn't wear well on me. Even in my first impression video, a lot of you were saying it just wasn't very flattering on my skin. I have finicky skin and I have texture that really can look bad if I don't wear the right products to really smooth it out. I think it's more geared towards dry skin just because of the skincare nature of it. Just felt thick, almost whipped, and it just didn't give me a lot of coverage or really even dew. It was kind of just like a natural finish. I didn't feel good in it. It just felt like everything on top of it was patchy. I couldn't get my powder to set it down. It just wasn't a good look for me. And my next fail was the Morphe Filter Effect foundation. This was the hardest foundation to apply. If you watch my first impressions, it took me like 10 minutes and like 17 brushes and sponges to get it to apply. It was just streaking back and forth. So usually when you use a stippling brush, you know, you use stippling motions, but you kind of, you know, buff in. Every time I buffed, it would just slide straight off my cheek. I tried it with multiple different primers and moisturizers even after filming, and it was just such a pain to apply. So I'm just not gonna mess with it. At the end of the day, it looked okay, but it didn't wear beautifully, and I just didn't love it. And for that hassle, I'm not going to spend 10 minutes trying to blend something out when I can blend my other foundations like that. So for me, this was just a disappointment. And then the last foundation that didn't work for me was the Huda Beauty Faux Filter, the reformulated. So I will say kudos to her for taking the fragrance out. I think that's great. A lot of her products were super fragranced and people get really, you know, off-put by that. This one reminds me of the Smashbox in the tube, the 24-hour full cover. So it almost goes from a cream to powder. It looks dry immediately. It's very high coverage. It's very mask-like, meaning that I feel like if you're doing drag makeup or you have a lot of stuff to cover, you may really enjoy this because a little goes a long way in covering things, but it has that powdery, dry feel, which can in turn look cakey. And the thing I didn't like about this the most was that it said it was transfer proof, and I wore this a few times with a mask, took my mask off, and my nose was literally foundation free. So the rest of my face had some foundation on. My nose looked like Rudolph because I have red skin. The transfer on this was one of the worst that I've seen, and it claims to be transfer proof. And when we're wearing masks, I know there's gonna be a little bit of transfer here and there, but this completely wiped straight off my nose. It just felt heavy, gunky, like it was just gonna smear right off. Really just transferred a lot, and for me, I'm not gonna mess with that. It was like flawless looking for the first couple hours, but the wear just wasn't there, and I just didn't like the way that it transferred so heavily. It just wasn't worth the hassle for me. So that is everything for this monthly roundup. I tried to move quickly. If I missed any products, it's because I'm still testing them, or maybe I just forgot. So comment down below if you want to know about a product that maybe I didn't touch on, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will link every product down below, and if you've tried any of them, I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. If you're new here, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.